Diane is on vacation in the United States. After visiting a friend in Colorado Springs, she heads to Estes Park Town in a rented car to visit the famous Rocky Mountain National Park.
I tried to turn the radio to music to relax a little bit while driving, but there was only static. After a while, a song began to play that seemed strangely familiar to me.
The song that Diane tuned to was not other than Midnight with the Stars in You. This song is the one Jack heard when entering the hotel bar, but she didn't think about it at the time.
I ran into a long line of cars. Something was happening, and there was a smell of burning wood in the air. I asked an officer passing by, and he said, "I'm sorry, miss. There's no pass to Rocky Mountain National Park. There's a big fire." So I decided to take a detour to look for a place where I could spend the night.
Diane looked for accommodation in several places, but all were occupied. It was already getting dark, and she saw a big hotel. She headed there. The name of the place was the Stanley Hotel.
I was exhausted, and so was my dog, Max. That's his name. As soon as I got to that old hotel, the only thing on my mind was going to bed and getting some sleep. At the reception desk, I was told that there was only one room available. I clearly remember that it was 213. As I went up, I noticed that at the end of the hallway, there was a room with an out of service sign, although I didn't pay much attention to it at the time.
Diane had no idea that room 217 was the place where Stephen King stayed and had found inspiration after a long period of writer's block.
I fell asleep immediately, but Max barking woke me up. He was acting a little strange, barking at the front door. At that moment, someone knocked. I got up and asked, "Who is it?" But I got no answer. So I went back to my bed to get my coat. It was already late and the clock struck 2:17 a.m.
She slowly opened the door to her room, but Max escaped between her legs and quickly turned to the end of the hallway. Diane yelled,
"Max, come here."
and she went after him. Just as she turned into the direction of her head, she tripped over a little blue size tricycle.
Oh my God, a tricycle. Okay. I didn't want to make a lot of noise. I called Max in whispers, "Max, Max," but I couldn't find him. I went to the first floor to see if the reception could allow me to look at the cameras. Some old music caught my attention. It was the same song that played in the car that afternoon. I followed the music and came to this large hall. It seemed to be a hotel bar.
This bar had a bohemian atmosphere. Everyone wore elegant suits and dresses that seemed straight out of another era. Everyone there looked at Diane strangely because of her appearance and her clothes. She approached the bar and asked the bartender, "Excuse me, have you seen a little dog walk by?"
The bartender whispered to me, "You shouldn't be here." I responded, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" He looked at me and replied, "Do you want a drink? Although your clothing is not appropriate, miss." That response seemed strange to me. I left this place, and when I crossed the door, the music stopped playing. Then I went to the reception to ask for help finding Max.
When Diane arrived at the lobby to ask the reception for help, He was busy as new guests were checking in. These were the Prudence, who came to spend a few days in search of peace. Diane knew that she had seen them somewhere. They seemed familiar to her, especially the little blonde girl who was the couple's youngest daughter.
The little girl stared at me and said, "Hi, Diane. Your name is the same as my mother." I was speechless. How was it possible that this little girl knew my name? Everything was at that moment taking a rather chilling tone. The girl's parents looked at me and didn't say anything, but they seemed surprised too.
As we all know, the Freelings had just gone through a terrible series of paranormal experiences, but the strangest things of all, something that had no type of explanation, were the events that Diane was experiencing, a mixture of reality and fantasy that seemed to be taken out of a neighbor.
The receptionist told me, "Sorry, miss, we don't have cameras at this location, but my staff will be happy to help you search for your pet." I kept looking for Max anyway. Where was he? A door to the stairs leading to the basement caught my attention. At that moment, I heard Max barking. The sound came from that basement. I went down quickly. Everything was dark and dim. I saw two girls playing with Max. They were actually twins.
When they saw Diane, they pitied her pet Max and told her, "You shouldn't be here." Then the dim lights in the basement went out, and Diane was left in complete darkness, while she heard her dog barking and the twins laughed in torment.
In the middle of the darkness, I felt that something was licking my legs. I got panicked and started screaming. Suddenly, an old TV turned on that only generated static, and I saw the figure of the girl. I saw it was the same one at the reception desk. She looked at me and said, "He will come for all of us. He says he liked the taste of your legs."
Filled with fear and astonishment, Diane quickly climbed the basement stairs and headed to her room. She noticed that room 217 was now marked as 237, and the door was half open. Hoping to find Max, she decided to go inside. As soon as she entered the room, she felt a chill running through her entire body. There was an elderly man sitting in front of an old typewriter. He wore glasses. His hair was completely white and long. He wore a suit, and the only thing he had written was, "All work and no play makes Jack a blue boy." For a moment, Diane saw that the typewriter was reading by itself.
Perplexed, I looked around and I noticed that the bathroom top seemed to be full of blood. And there were red hands marks on the shower curtain, as if someone had tried to get out of there. A strange sensation ran through my mouth, as if it were full of warm blood to fill it up to my throat. That man looked at me and said, "Hello, do you like horror stories?" I tried to reply, but no words came out of my mouth. He smiled at me and said, "Huh, don't worry, Max is fine. You won't find it in this place, though, but I know someone who can help you. They're waiting for you in the lobby." At that moment, I heard a bang in the bathroom, and when I looked, I didn't notice any blood or marks on the curtain shower anymore. When I looked back at the man, he was no longer there, and I only saw that typewriter with a handwritten page that repeated the same phrase, all work and no place makes Jack a dull.
Paralyzed, Diana could not muster the strength to leave the room at that moment. She heard the lobby bell ring, announcing the arrival of new guests. She went there, and when she arrived at the lobby, she saw a man with his wife and his son, about 5 years old, who was reading a blue tricycle. That man said, "Hello, are you in charge here? Let me introduce myself. I'm Jack, and I'm here to spend a few days with my family. And I know who you are looking for."
Surprised by the familiarity on his face, I didn't answer anything. And when I turned around, I found myself in front of a mirror and noticed that I was now wearing an old maid's outfit. I didn't know what was happening, and I just realized that all the old pictures on the wall were from Stanley's hotel staff. They all were guests before, and now I'm one of them.